Snooch to the Nooch, everybody, and welcome to Off the Rack. I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan.
And I'm Ben.
It's our 90s-tacular episode of Off the Rack. Happy April Fools, everybody. We're going all the way back to 1993, and in order to know why we're doing that, you're going to check out our episode of Back Issues, which is all kinds of 1993. Click this thing here. When that episode goes up, that will work. That's all I'm going to say. Today, we did two books that came out off the rack in 1993. And interestingly enough, when I was doing some research on 1993 books that came out, that was a big year for a lot of random
A lot
cool
happened.
shit. Yeah. Superman started to come back to life. Batman was replaced for a long time. And Spiderman had a death in the family that was particularly significant. So... thought, since we're not doing Superman, because that's going to be for another episode of another show, we're going to do just Batman number 500 and Spectacular Spider-Man number 200. First up, Batman 500. Written by Doug Mensch with art by Jim Aparo, who did Batman Death in the Family, which you can click right here to see our back issues on, with art also by Terry Austin and Mike Manley. Which is interesting because it's kind of like two books in one. So
You've got a lot.
One book is much better than the other.
I think our old school fans might disagree.
Well, I was going to say the old
I
school
do also agree with you.
art really looks like the Death in the Family.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it
done by the
does,
same
yeah.
guy. Yeah, so it's very similar. Makes no attempt to change it, except his panel composition does change, as we will probably get into. But what do you guys think of just a cold read of Batman number 500?
Oh man, it was rad.
Wasn't it tubular?
No. Sorry.
That was cool.
I thought I was surprised by how much I didn't hate it.
Right?
I thought it was going to be really lame, and it was not bad. There were parts that were definitely really lame, but as a whole, there were some interesting things going on. So
I was surprised at how meta Robin was.
Oh yeah.
well, yeah,
Yeah, Robin was such a mouthpiece.
Yeah.
For like.
because he has nothing else to do in this book.
He doesn't, and it's so frustrating, especially as a kid in 1993, and I bought this book, I had like at least one copy, if not two, and I read the hell out of it, because it had a beautiful gatefold foil cover by Joe Quesada, who would later become editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics, but appropriately enough drew this because he created, or helped to create, Azrael, who would take over as Batman.
Oh, wow.
But that cover is the best art in the book. Is this like homage to Dark Knight Returns Batman, where he's like grizzled and old, he's got the little ears, then you open it up and you got this crazy robot shit going on, and depicting cool stuff that never takes place, like Bane threatening Robin
Yeah, holding him by his
holding
leg,
him
like,
upside
come
down.
on.
with his
Yeah.
man-sized hands.
Yeah,
Nope, never happens.
That doesn't happen.
In fact, Robin doesn't even...
doesn't go anywhere near me.
No, he doesn't get anywhere near danger at all.
No, there's no...
Well, on the train a little bit.
Oh yeah, that's
bit.
right, he helps with the train.
Yeah.
That's it.
But he doesn't interact with Bane in any way.
No.
He
But
does
it's
get
probably
within
just as
about
well
20 or
as
25
killed.
feet.
Yeah.
True.
That's about it.
So let's just get into it. What do you think of the art, or arts, for this book, Batman number 500?
A little confusing at times.
Right.
Because there were just some choices that the artists made that were very bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I didn't recognize when the art shifted because to me it was all a little bit dated, but that's because of the coloring.
Right.
But I noticed at the end of the book, I was like, actually, the art in this book is really pretty good. It kind of
picked
holds
up.
up pretty well.
Yeah.
And so I guess that's maybe a success of the book, is that like the transition wasn't that jarring for whatever reason, but by the end of the book, I could definitely tell that the art was significantly
I thought that's
better.
because it transitioned to nighttime instead of
Yeah.
some sort of daytime or interior fight.
Yeah, that could be. So, yeah, my brain was just like, oh, it's night. That's why it looks a little different.
Right. Well, the other thing, I think, and we've talked about this off camera a little bit, is the tonal shift with Batman and with comics, and I think it's illustrated through the art of this book. Where we start with a guy who helped, like, define Batman in this period. You know, we got Jim Aparo, old school Batman artist, and we transition to Terry Austin's art.
Into a new Batman.
A new
as well.
Batman, a new era in comic art. You know, because Image had not yet been... It had been actually just formed only 2 years prior, so they're trying to keep up.
Right.
Because all of their huge artists had left the fold at that point, and they're like, what are we going to do? We need to sign some new artists, really shake things up. And of course, the world of Image, and their anti-heroes, and their...
We gotta keep up with Spawn!
And Wildcats, and Youngblood, and Blood Wolf, and Blood, and... all that stuff. We got to keep up. We got to be hip, because
there's a great panel where new Batman's like cape is like coming out in front of him, and its tendrils are like reaching out.
Yep.
for something. I'm like, that's a fucking Spawn.
That's a Spawn
right there.
Yeah.
But that reveal of the suit
Oh, yeah.
was awesome.
That
I looked
was
at that,
really cool.
I looked at that now and I was like, this is cool.
Yeah. Let's get into like just part 2 of the art, because holy shit, Terry Austin's art is so pretty.
Yeah.
And I don't know like where Mike Manley fit in. Like, I don't know how like who did whose, but that second half, despite the fact that like tonally and like narratively, it is supposed to be not good. Like, you're not supposed to enjoy what happens.
Right.
Or rather, editorial would rather you didn't enjoy what happens.
Yeah.
It is fucking cool and rad and hardcore.
It is. And surprisingly modern.
It is, yeah. From the panel conversation right on down to like the choices in how the characters were built, how they were depicted. Bane wasn't unrealistically large.
No.
He was just very large.
He's just a big guy.
Yeah. And Batman's suit doesn't look quite so dumb when it's drawn cool.
Yeah, it looks better.
Yeah. What do you guys think of the writing for this book? That's really where we get into the metatextual nature of this issue.
Oh my god.
Right. I thought the writing... So, like, technically the writing I thought was rather weak, but I did enjoy some of the subtext that was going on, because it was telling kind of a story about old school comics versus new school comics and incorporating that into the story. So I thought that was clever and interesting. But man, when friggin' John Paul Valley is talking to himself, those panels are death. And that's like half the book is panels of him
talking to himself
in his head.
Yeah.
It just sucks.
Well, I'm not even sure if he's talking to himself or you're just hearing the narration of what's going on.
I know what it is.
His mental,
him talking to the system.
Yeah. He's talking to like Saint Dumas, and he's talking to himself, and he's talking to like his father, and it's a disaster. And by the way, like as a reader, I was really excited to see when Batman was going to show up and fix this, but he doesn't for a long time after this. Instead, you get this lunatic asshole Batman who talks to himself. The whole, if you need a character to share, expository information, if you need him to like give context, that's a great way for Robin to serve, because then Batman and Robin can talk about the characters that they're going to do.
Or Hideous Harold.
Yeah, good old Harold, the troll who lives in the Batcave and lives off dog food. Christ. Yeah, Harold would of course come into play with Batman Hush. That's the first time you guys ever saw Harold.
Yeah, I didn't even know who he was.
Yeah, Batman Hush was in an episode of our back issues.
Yes, I didn't even remember it. That's how much of an impact.
He doesn't matter. Yeah. I was, why not? So the writing, he needs dialogue is incredibly weak.
Yeah.
And it was incredibly frustrating to see this Batman
It's also so floral.
Oh, it's very...
It's verbose. There's such use of imagery, but it's not pretty.
No. Yeah.
It's gritty, and it's dark, and it's angry.
Yeah. Well, you have everything in this. It's funny because, like, eventually comics would move away from the thought bubble. Mm-hmm. And... for the most part, the narration. But in this, you've got everything. Dialogue, narration, thought bubbles, where the editor or the omniscient narrator is actually telling you the story as well as the characters. And there's so much art that you have to cram into these little panels that, like, there's no room for everything, but we need all these words.
Well, otherwise, you don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, like, you do know what's going on, because you can see him swinging around from building to building. And it's like, they want to draw that cool art, but it's a comic book, there's got to be words.
Right.
Let's have him, narrate, or somebody's narrating, and it's all this, like, bull crap about falling... and depths and darkness
and like not even knowing how far the systemic hypnosis went.
And they're trying to create this imagery that's like supposed to be cool, but it's not. It's just dumb and superfluous.
Well, it's very high school poetry.
Yeah. But most of it, I just enjoyed the art afterwards.
Oh yeah.
And if you just focus on the art, especially in the second half of the book, it's great.
And that's the star of the book,
except for his stupid gloves.
Oh, those gauntlets?
I hate those things.
They're dumb.
I think Jim Aparo doesn't know what to do with them, and that's why they look so dumb in that one, and why they look kind of cool or work with the Batsuit in part 2.
Yeah.
I love that Batsuit. I love the use of his portable bat signal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here!
Light! There's a lot of weird choices, especially with that new costume, that for me, in 1993, having no context, doesn't know... that comics are shifting. I'm in it. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's no hindsight here. I'm just like, that's a badass suit. It's so cool looking.
Yeah, you don't know if they're trying to beat Spawn.
And they finally covered Batman's mouth.
Yes.
And you know what? That always looks cool. Like,
Yeah, it works.
Later on, of course, John Paul Valley would take that suit to the nth degree, and he wouldn't even because like the blue and the gray and the yellow splash of color really works in that suit with the red eyes. It's really cool. Then he would like shift it more. He would have these gold like shoulder like bells, and then later he would be like, fuck the blue, make it red.
Right.
And then the mask wouldn't just be a mask, and it had like a fucking armor thing on it. He just looked like a fucking bird. It was just really weird.
Did it become more like his Azrael?
Yes,
costume?
that's the idea, is that he would eventually just morph into Azrael again.
Right.
Would you guys recommend Batman number 500 to anybody? Would you like want?
I would.
Would this have appealed to you in '93?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, totally. Me too. It did. I bought all of them. Like,
Right, yeah. I didn't read comics in 1993.
no, but if
probably
someone
not.
if I had been like, "Hey, man, comics are getting good, man. Here you go."
No, I don't think it would have appealed to me. I do recommend it though because it's such a. I feel like it's like such a demonstration of that time period in comics. It's literally the transition from the old to the at that time new
To the modern. And it's interesting.
It's also impressive to watch Batman change and see him be like, no, the rules are going out the window.
right.
Yeah.
The rules are different.
Except
even though,
not because he still doesn't kill.
Well, he doesn't kill him, but he certainly doesn't pull any punches when fighting him.
No,
Yeah,
He
but
also
Batman's
leaves him in the
gone all out
groin.
punching people before.
Yes.
So like,
yeah, but he never cut them.
He never cut
yes,
them.
but
He
then
never
he does
shot
later.
Yeah,
He never
Yeah.
shot flying razor blades at them.
Yeah, and that's true. And that I guess at the time would have been pretty hardcore.
I don't think I ever saw Batman knee anyone in the groin either.
Yeah,
That's a low
probably
blow.
not.
Yeah.
He fights dirty in this book. Yeah,
does.
it's funny because now they're all talking about it, like how hardcore and how he's going too far, and like he's just doing what any superhero would
Well,
do
that's the thing is
now
that like
when their life is
now you know
yeah,
like that it
Where it
wasn't
came
always
from.
like that.
yeah.
And I liked it too because you can tell in the dialogue, like it's almost like the artists were all like, "Yeah, let's change, let's go!" Like Terry Austin's like, "Fuck yes,
Right.
I want to draw this cool shit." And the writers probably they inserted so much of themselves into it, so they could be like, "No, you don't like this. It's bad. I'm Robin. I don't want to."
Robin doesn't like him. You shouldn't either.
Yeah.
Except then at the end,
Robin's like, "All right.
I was wrong.
Yeah.
Like, you're
Yeah.
an okay guy."
Well, because
It's like, no, Robin, you were right.
No, that's
Yeah,
the
it's a weird
comic book
concession.
industry. Robin's the comic book industry.
Yes.
I guess I was wrong. I guess we
guess
have to
you
jump
want
on
this.
board.
Oh, you're selling books? Okay, cool.
Here you go.
Here.
Let's damage the whole industry with all our terrible decisions.
I thought it was really dumb how he's just like, well, he didn't kill him, so all right, you are the Batman.
Yeah.
It's like, that's what makes him the
You
Batman?
didn't kill one guy.
Yep.
You almost did, but you didn't in the end.
All right, Tim, I guess you're the Batman too. And so is Jim Gordon.
Yeah. So's that guy over there. But
He
as far
also
as I know,
beat the ultimate bad guy. That's
He
what
did.
You know,
He beat the
Nightwing
guy who
couldn't
beat Batman.
Bane,
No.
So he can't be Batman.
except no, we'll never know.
He didn't even try.
No, he
Well,
didn't.
Nightwing didn't want it, and Bruce knew that.
Yeah. He would have, but he
Yeah.
didn't want to. Stupid.
Yeah.
And finally, Spectacular Spider-Man number 200, written by J.M. DeMatteis, back then pronounced DeMatteis.
Really?
Yeah, back then,
Pronounced by who?
everyone else.
Except DeMatteis.
Well, no, later on, he actually discovered that his name was actually pronounced DeMatteis, and he's like, you know what, I like that. I'm just going to keep that going.
Yeah, DeMatteis makes a lot more sense to me as a
Well, it's more
name.
Italian. You can find that out actually in our interview with DeMatteis from the Baltimore Comic Con. This link right here. He says that, I think, in that. But anyway, and it's drawn by Sal Buscema, who really doesn't draw anymore.
Really, it didn't seem like he drew much back then either.
I think that there's a lot of merit to Sal Buscema's art, but this book is probably for me one of the best looking books that he's drawn.
Mm-hmm. It kind of seems like the pinnacle of that type of art.
Yes.
That was dying at this time.
He would eventually go on to continue with the Clone Saga, and it looked like fucking garbage. Initial thoughts of Spectacular Spider-Man number 200, also coming out in 1993.
It's weird.
It's kind of weak.
I did not like the art. I thought the writing had some standout moments.
Yeah. How'd you like that holographic foil cover?
Is that what that was?
Yeah.
It's holographic.
It was.
I
You
couldn't
could turn
tell
it and
because I
it
don't
like
have it
shimmered.
in
The webs shimmered.
Oh.
When I was reading Spider-Man comics in 93, or in the 90s, or in the 80s, Spectacular was one that I normally skipped.
Really?
And this was one of the first... Actually, one of the first Spider-Man book I ever bought was a Spectacular Spider-Man book, and it was drawn by Sal Buscema.
Okay.
This was probably the second Spectacular Spider-Man book I ever purchased. Then the first one deliberately.
Right. And you had to get this one.
I had to get this one.
Happened in it.
No, it was just because it had that freaking cover.
Oh, really?
It was just a pretty
that,
cover.
That cover is great.
And I saw it and I was like, wow, I have to get this. And it was like part 3 of a 3-part story. And I'd been reading Amazing at the time, which was drawn by Bagley, and I was like, this is not Bagley. Like, this is not the art that I'm used to. But
this
it grew
art
on me.
reminded me a lot of the original Spider-Man.
Oh, like Ditko.
Yeah.
And Romita, like, propelled it into stardom.
That's what it reminded me of a lot.
It is very Romita-esque. In as much as it's, like, old school, panel composition, the staging of the characters.
Even, like, the design of Peter Parker. It reminds me of, in the Sunday Comics,
yes.
you see the Spider-Man strip. It's 3 panels, and it looks exactly like that.
It does, yeah. Yeah, with
Which
that clean-cut haircut. No. It's interesting. Salashema's art is a very acquired taste.
And why Harry and Norman's hair was always that weird, like, I'm a solid block with these weird stripes of color.
Yeah, they're called cornrows, man. I think that there were a lot of things that worked with the art as far as Spectacular Spider-Man number 200 goes. Spider-Man swinging is always fun.
Yes.
Spider-Man's design is always great and always in proportion and always consistent.
Yes.
He doesn't take license where a lot of artists in the 90s were with Spider-Man. Like, okay, I want him to do this really cool thing, but he can't have the same size legs in order to pull off this pose. So I'm just going to have him do the pose, and then you just enjoy it being cool and never analyze it.
Yeah.
In this, like...
Or, like, I'm going to make him really stringy.
Yeah.
Where, like, his bones and his muscles don't really work anatomically.
Yeah. In this... He has a design. It's almost like he has like a 3D map of what Peter Parker's body works like, and then just depicts it throughout.
Yeah, it's called an action figure.
Yeah,
he just like
okay, he does this.
All right, he's got this many points of articulation, so this is what he's allowed to do in the comic.
This book looks way better than any action figure.
The art is consistent.
Yes,
it is consistently boring.
Right,
is how I felt. There were a couple panels where I was like, that was cool, but for the most part, not. But I guess that's also like the story is boring. So well, not boring, but like there's not a lot of action.
There's not a lot of action. And it's funny.
There's not a lot of chances for it to really breathe.
No,
I really liked some of the panels where Peter Parker got angry.
Yes. Let's get into that, and by virtue of that, let's also like bleed into the writing with that.
Not even when he's in the Spider-Man suit, just like when he's Peter Parker and he's just getting frustrated with Harry Osborn.
Yeah,
it was awesome, and this was like, yeah, why hasn't Spider-Man just had enough already?
Right.
When was this? When's the breaking point?
And it's
this
funny,
is the breaking point.
It is, and then he'll continue to have a breaking point for the next 5 or 6 years.
All right, well, that's terrible.
Like, his parents will come back to life, but they'll be robots.
Oh my god. This is a very real story.
I like it, because in this, I like the idea of... When I was reading it, it was really frustrating. Mm-hmm. But not, like, as a reader going, like, this is dumb.
Right.
I was like what? I couldn't figure out how I would extricate myself in the situation.
Like,
your best friend, who superficially should be great living in the same building as you, is actually the Green Goblin, and he's tormenting you.
Right.
Like, every time that no one is around, it's like that fucking frog from those Looney Tunes cartoons, where he's just like, hello, my baby, hello, oh, someone's here, and then he just pretends to be dead. Like, no, I'm not the Green Goblin until I am, and I'm going to ruin your life.
Yeah. And I can ruin it in a number of ways.
And
I could
at
kill
any
you when
point,
you sleep.
Yep.
I could reveal your identity.
I could kill your wife.
Kill your wife.
Your aunt.
I'm going to kidnap her and bring her on top of a bridge, which is
for
really
no
symbolic.
reason.
Because he gets where Gwen Stacy died.
Yeah, but like it didn't add anything to what he was going to tell her.
Well,
he told her
if
when
you
he told her.
Yes.
No, but if you
that.
were reading it back then,
that was really heavy.
Well, yeah, it was like, oh my god, what's he going to do? Oh, nothing.
It also showed that even while the Green Goblin is like manic and insane, Harry Osborn himself is incredibly depressed.
Yeah, and he's not. He doesn't want to do. It's like he's compelled. It's a compulsion for him.
Yes, it's like, look, but you are still my friend, MJ, because I have feelings for you and we're on great terms.
Yeah,
but I hate
your husband.
I hate Spider-Man. Yeah. It's a compulsion. I can't stop that.
But I'll never hurt you. That's another thing.
But what does any of that have to do with Gwen Stacy dying?
Like, Gwen Stacy dying is like the breaking point for everyone. He's kind of like, no one is safe.
Right.
For me, it really felt like Spider-Man was more of the antagonist in this book than the Green Goblin.
And you're supposed to feel that way. I think that's a strength in the writing. I think DeMatteis does a really good job of like making, because Harry's irrational because of like he's manic due to his drugs and his upbringing being not Norman Osborn's son, and Peter is manic because he doesn't know what to do and he can't trust his best friend,
and he's like losing sleep and freaking out.
Yeah, so like it's just. And really, at the core of it, it's just these two people who are having a problem with each other.
Right.
And they think that the other one's going to destroy everything else, but they're just, because they're so pig-headed, they can't think of anything besides what they see.
But Goblin actually does want to destroy
he wants to kill...
He has an actual plan, which you find out eventually.
Oh, yes, and his plan is, of course, that he's going to lure all these people who ruined his dad's legacy into his building and blow it the fuck up.
Yeah.
But then he's like, fuck it, I'll just kill Spider-Man.
Yeah. Well, no.
That's not
You're
really
here?
what he
All right.
wants.
Well, then
Right.
let's go out together.
Yeah, we'll kill
that's
each
a
other.
way better plan.
It's just killing ourselves.
That's what I really want.
Yeah.
And that was a very powerful moment for me in the book, when you figure out, like, really, Harry just kind of, like, hates himself.
Yes.
And he just wants it all to end.
Right.
And he's like,
Well,
let's
like,
just do it.
And he's not that I'm going to kill you because you're my greatest nemesis. He's
Right.
like, and you, like, we're very similar in that we both ruin lives.
Yeah.
Then wouldn't it be better if we both just took ourselves off the table? And Peter's like, no.
But you're not going to go alone. I'm going to go with you.
Yeah. Oh,
That was impressive.
You'll never kill yourself, so I'm going to have to
exactly.
do it. You won't, and I'll fix it.
Yeah. There's a lot of subtext in this book that I kind of really like.
Yeah.
And of course,
Very deep.
Yeah, it is very deep. It's very deep for a comic book in 1993,
Yeah.
a mainstream book. That's one of the strengths I find with DeMatteis, that like he's like, yeah, they could fight, but
Right.
like, wouldn't it be funny if they fought in their minds?
Right.
If their souls fought.
Well, the even crazier
Ideologically.
part is that Harry is so insane and so focused on his hatred for Peter that he forgets that Mary Jane and his son
are there.
in
Yeah.
the building.
Yeah.
It's like, your son's there!
And it's also a great like illustration of people who have addiction, who like cancel out the obvious or the important,
Right.
because of one goal.
Yeah.
And of
His
course,
fix is killing Spider-Man.
yeah, and the Goblin Serum, which he like improved, but he's not a chemist, which is why he fucking dies.
He just took what his dad had already improved and I guess left in a locker somewhere.
Yeah.
Or
Well,
something.
he just added cocaine.
The book itself, like, yeah, there's some moments that are like meh, and the story itself, okay. For me, it's one of the strongest endings to a Spider-Man book
Yes.
that I've ever read.
Yeah.
And it's one of the reasons why I was like, oh, you guys should read it. But also, like, I don't mind that you're like, kind of meh. Because, like, the ending for me is incredibly strong and still holds up.
Yeah.
And it's like one of my, like, yeah, no, this is, like, no, if you don't think Spider-Man's cool, or you don't like this, if you don't think this is, like, for adults, like, this is a moment.
Well, it was an incredibly downer ending because Spider-Man loses.
Yeah.
Because his friend dies.
Right.
Yeah.
In fact, it's not Spider-Man loses. Peter Parker loses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought I really liked the last two pages. I believe there's no words.
There's no dialogue.
And you get 2 full pages of just art, which completely and perfectly tells the story.
And that, I think, is easily the strongest moment for Buscema.
yes, definitely.
And Harry redeems himself.
Yes.
yeah.
Not
Yeah.
the Green Goblin. Harry.
Yeah.
Harry realizes that he is about to kill his best
Well,
friend.
ultimately, Harry defeats the Green Goblin.
Yeah.
Right.
And saves Peter Parker and his best friend, Mary Jane, and his wife,
Now,
and his son.
Even I were wondering if Harry ever comes back after this.
Yeah.
And I was saying, like, well, that could only happen because, like, when Harry goes back to save Peter, he kills the Green Goblin. And the Green Goblin dies, but Harry doesn't die.
No. There are moments that I crave in comics, which are those small character moments. And in fact, in movies, in most media, it's like those small character moments where like characters are brilliant or beautiful or sad. And it's really cool. Also, there's a weird plot point that they'll carry over later, which is that Mary Jane starts smoking.
Yeah.
It's-
And Peter really doesn't like it.
No.
Nope.
Which
But
is
apparently
another,
she
like,
smokes a
interesting
lot.
real
A
moment.
lot.
he hit that desk and
Yeah,
there
there
were
was
butts
a lot.
everywhere.
Well, that's I love that because it shows just how stressful
Yeah.
A, being married to Spider-Man is, and B, that situation in and of itself.
Yeah.
Like, just that period.
And also where Peter's starting to lose it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's where he starts to become more of the
violent
antagonist
in
than the
his home
protagonist.
in front of his wife.
Yeah.
You know, he loses control, and that's like, whoa.
Yeah, it is.
Like, you're a good guy.
Right, exactly. Hey, you're supposed to be the superhero, man.
Don't be breaking stuff.
No, but I love that moment at the end when it cuts to like the picture of the two of them with like, the cigarette butts all over it. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is great. It's a
Yeah.
good book. So,
Yeah, and that was, I don't like the art.
No, yeah.
But the composition.
Yes, the
there is
decisions
what's-
are great.
Yeah, like the sequencing of the panels and what's actually in them is great. From a technical standpoint, it's boring.
Yes.
Now that said, also all the dialogue, like the words back and forth, I was like, shoot me. Christ.
Yeah.
Especially every time Harry just went on.
Yeah, it's a little wordy at times.
well, not only that, but it's like, for me, I feel like those are the ramblings of a crazy person.
Right.
Like, he's gonna need... No, it's also brilliant because it's a way for him to give you context, but also give you what a character like that would do,
Right.
which is run at the mouth.
It's the ramblings of a
But
crazy
is
person,
boring.
but that's the person I walk past on the sidewalk and try to ignore.
Well, yeah, but he's the main character in your story now, and you gotta read it.
You gotta see
It's like, no,
But
you
you see-
gotta get away from
Who
him.
you see. Look, it is dated, but I like it because it highlights some differences. Like we read a book where it's all about style and no substance, except for like just the panicked last yawp of editorial. Please don't like this. Like just barely infused. It's like the snuffing of a candle.
In this one, the story is more substantial.
Yeah, and the art is like old
bland.
school. It's like it's what happens when you stick to your guns.
Yes. Yep. Exactly.
But even they couldn't resist the clarion call of the gatefold of the holographic cover of the '90s gimmick. So thanks a lot for watching, everybody. This is our 90.
Wait, would you recommend?
Oh, whatever. Obviously, I would recommend it. I recommend it to you guys. I tricked you guys into reading it.
Yeah.
No, but it was also when I was looking up 93 books, I'm like, no shit, that came out. We got to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I would also recommend it to anyone interested in the history of comics, and Spider-Man in particular.
Sure.
It's clearly a seminal moment in his history, and
it is.
It's a pretty competently done book, and it's got some depth to it.
Yeah.
I'm on it. I'm on the fence about it. I like it really because the roles reverse, and Spider-Man is finally starting to be an antagonist and not the protagonist, and also the fact that the ending of it is pretty solid.
Yeah.
But you have to slog through a lot of the beginning.
Yeah. Eventually, Harry Osborn will come back after one more day.
Oh.
That's one of the problems.
I think he comes back one day later.
Yeah, one day later.
After one more day.
After one more day.
After he dies.
Yeah, no, one more day.
The longest day.
Thanks so much for watching our special April Fool's 1993 edition of Off the Rack. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and maybe one day we'll do some more. I like kind of doing some flashback, some flashback reviews. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, everybody. Click the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It helps us out. Click the invitation here to see every episode of Off the Rack we've ever done, and we'll see you guys next time. We'll see you next time with a new episode of Back Issues that coincides with this whole crazy experiment right now.
Happy April Fools!
Woo! I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan.
And I'm Ben.
So long.
Alright, Ethan had a question before.
Yes.
Why does the Green Goblin have a purse?
Oh, that's where you keep your pumpkin bombs.
That's what I said.
Why is it a purse? It's clearly a purse. It's pink.
I said it was a satchel.
It's European.
Clasp on it.
I think it's supposed to be.
Handbag.
I think he thinks of it as a satchel. It's
Right.
obviously a purse.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's fuchsia doesn't help much.
No.
But
What if it's kind of like a trick-or-treating bag, since it's like a Green Goblin
it's funny.
Halloween mask?
Actually, later on, they would kind of play up that theme, like when they actually brought back Norman Osborn, like the issue when he came back to life. Green Goblin dons the whole costume, which is exactly what you see here, complete with purse, but he has an additional bomb. He has the pumpkin bombs, he has razor bats, but he also has ghosts.
Ghosts? What's it?
They're little ghosts, and when you throw them, they explode into like smoke. They're like smoke ghosts.
Okay.
And
I
he
thought it was
plays
going to
up.
be ectoplasmic goo.
Yeah, no.
Like,
He throws a literal, like a spirit at someone.
Like,